All right. Okay, welcome to Advanced X-Ray with Aquaman. As I mentioned in my post, this is a sequel to the X-Ray with Aquaman that took place about a month ago, 3 weeks. So if you missed that, feel free to ping me. I can send you the recording for that one. We will recap a few of the Boolean basics and X-Ray basics as well, right at the very beginning. But if you want an in-depth session on how the beginning of X-ray searching works, we will go ahead and share that link. But I'm your host, Aquaman, and this is Advanced X-Ray with Aquaman. Let's dive in. Okay. To begin, we are going to just cover a brief roadmap so we know what we're doing. First, we're going to do a basics recap. As I just said, we're going to cover everything that was covered in session one. If you need that in depth, let me know. Next, we're going to start with nested statements. We're going to cover both nested statements in general and then nested around statements. Then we will move on to natural language searching, as well as a wildcard function in X-Ray and how that works and how it's different from your sourcing platforms. Then we will look at X-raying into GitHub, Stack Overflow, and just pulling raw resumes from Google. And then we will go to questions and live sourcing. So keep in mind, if you are watching this live, you're jumping in midway through, let me know, and we will get to live sourcing at the end. We should have plenty of time. I tried to budget so that we have about 10 to 15 minutes to do some live sourcing, but we'll see how that goes. First, the basic Boolean recap. Your operators are and, or, and not. I included in parentheses the signs or symbols used for those statements in a Boolean string. You will see both formats used later on in this presentation. The other operators to note are parentheses and quotations when grouping terms together, and quotations for exact searches or phrase searches. The functions we covered last time that you're going to see in this presentation as well are cite, the cite function, the around function. We're looking at the range finder as well as the in title function. All of these are fairly fundamental for basic X-ray Boolean searches. These functions will allow you to bypass that LinkedIn recruiter paywall. You're going to be able to view LinkedIn without having to have a recruiter seat, which is nice. So that's our recap. If you need the full presentation on that, let me know. I'm more than happy to share that with you. So first, let's talk about nests. I One of my favorite creatures in the world are birds. I love to watch them. I've got bird feeders all over. So I love the concept of a nested statement. Birds building nests, it weave together twigs and branches. They'll put together yarn and string to create something that serves a very specific purpose for them. Likewise, as we build our searches, and we create nested statements, it allows us to create complex but specific search parameters in less characters. So on your screen, you should be able to see a nested statement. I've highlighted and color coded the individual search statements grouped by parentheses to show how the Boolean is talking with itself, looking at how the statements are working. So you can see in green, because that's where we're going to start. That's our innermost parenthesis group. We've got back end or back end. And the reason it looks like I'm missing a quotation mark there, and that's my bad. But that's the first statement. I'm saying I need one of those to be true. And if I need that, I want software in the title. If this were a title search, but I'm looking for back end or back end and software. Or I can just be looking for Java. So this search would be for someone that's looking for a Java engineer, someone who's working and programming in Java for the back end. So if they have Java in their title, I don't even need to begin looking at a title of back end or software engineer. The assumption here is that if I've got back end and software engineer in the title, I'm also looking for someone that has experience with Java. But if they have that in their title, we're now looking at a broader or statement. We're looking at Java or backend and software. So you can see how this is growing from a single statement into something larger and then larger, and then I'm saying and engineer or developer. So ultimately, I've got statements within statements, hence a nested statement. It's interwoven just like a bird would build a nest, and it serves a very specific function. The really cool part about this is that in 69 characters, I've now got all of these particular pieces put together for a single statement. That includes down below that giant block of text of Java engineer or developer, backend software engineer, and so on. That's 130 character count without any of the operators. So you're being more precise. It's taking up less of your time, and you have to do less work to get the same results, which I'm a big fan of. I wouldn't say I'm lazy. I'm efficient. I want to work as little as necessary to get the best results. And nested statements is a great way to build those fundamentals and begin doing that. Now, I want to apologize. In my last presentation, I said I'm not sure that you can get multiple locations in an around statement. Uh, that I was unfamiliar how to do that, and it really irritated me that I didn't know how to do that because I know how to do I know how to do nested around statements. It looks a little different, um, but the way I'm working this here is I've got South Carolina or Utah or Arizona. I just picked three states that I'm familiar with. I live in South Carolina, used to live in Utah, and I'm traveling to Arizona next month. But your round statement here is essentially what I've created without using the parentheses because of the pipe and the way that the locations is working is I'm telling my Boolean here, search for South Carolina or Utah or Arizona within, or around five terms from connections. The reason again that I use the connections piece as my anchor is that appears on every single profile. This is my primary use of the around function with X-ray searching, and it is quite helpful and does the job incredibly well, right? So to give you an example of what this looks like, I've got my Boolean string written out of site:linkedin.com/in to look at specifically LinkedIn profiles. I put my locations, my optional locations in a single around statement um, that truly is nested because I'm looking at South Carolina or Utah or Arizona. And then I put in title software developer because that's a role I work on regularly. And I'm going to show you what the results look like. This is the actual string put into Google. You've got in the title, because LinkedIn formats this, that whatever their current job is what their web page or LinkedIn page title is, software developer, every single one of them. I then have highlighted because I use highlight this, and for ease of presenting here, I've got Arizona, South Carolina, and Utah. So an around statement using multiple locations is possible, and it really ate at me when I said, "Oh, I'm not sure I know how to do that" in the last presentation, and realized I do. And this is an incredibly simple function, but it passes up a lot because it is fairly advanced. And so when I'm thinking narrowly and I'm trying to find the individuals in a location and I'm refining my search, I often will forget that I can do this. And so this is a really helpful tool in looking for positions that you've got. Maybe you can hire in Washington State, you can hire in Texas, you can hire in South Carolina, New York, whatever your states are. Put it all into a single statement, and then you can look at those profiles without needing a profile filter on LinkedIn Recruiter. You can get around that. Next is natural language searches. Natural language searching is super important. It's kind of a high level X-ray function that you're looking at. The importance about it is that you're not identifying or playing buzzword bingo anymore. You're looking at how people use those terms, right? This is something that as you begin to build your Boolean, you're jumping into your X-ray searches. Your intake call with your hiring manager was super important. Asking them the questions, not saying, "Hey, what are the must-have skills?" and letting them list off, a handful of things. Dive into that and say, "Okay, so you need someone that has this certification, or you need someone that has this kind of experience. What does that look like? Can you explain what this job function is in one sentence? This will give you a way to see how people talk about what they do, especially since we are talent acquisition professionals. We have our own jargon, we have our own way of communicating with each other. So do these people that you are recruiting. And so finding the ways that they talk with each other is imperative if you want to be effective at developing these natural language searches. Right? If someone, I have an example here on the slide. If someone says, I need someone that has experience with Python, I would say, well, are they developing in Python or are they scripting in Python? Um, they're two different functions. Same thing with the Java versus JavaScript joke that you hear all the time, that recruiters don't understand, that Java is not JavaScript. Those are two different functions. So making sure that you understand what those key terms are, what their function is, and then diving into how do they use that. So if you're looking, for example, for someone that has experience leading or managing a team, I've got a string on here at the bottom of the page that shows what that could look like. I'm trying to cover every variable of manage in this, as well as I'm looking to cover variations of team. The reason I don't want to put just manage and team on there is that can pick it up in different places. So now I'm grouping them together using quotations, and I'm creating a phrase search while including the variations of manage, present tense, past tense, future tense. Um, these are the things that you're looking for to be inclusive in your searches. People oftentimes on their resumes will even vary on what tenses they're using. So being inclusive in that sense, and really diving into, again, to that natural language search is going to be important. If I separated that and said I want someone who has manage and team, it could say, oh, I managed the software, or I managed the function of this thing that I do, and I was a part of this team. Well, it has both manage and team, and it's going to pick that up. So this is how you can hone in and be more precise with those searches. All right. Next, we're going to dive into wildcard. If you've used wildcard functions on different platforms, they operate differently. The wildcard in X-Ray does not finish a statement for you. If you use Hire Easy, you use Seek Out, you LinkedIn Recruiter, you throw that asterisk at the end of a word, and it'll autofill the variations, right? So you would see this often in a lot of my Boolean strings as I source on Seek Out, for example. I would say I'm looking for an eng asterisk and developer. The reason I do that is because it's less characters, it's more efficient, right? And eng asterisk in Seek Out will pull up engineer, engineering, engineered, and create that kind of that natural language piece. However, in X-Ray, it doesn't work that way. It's more like a phrase completion. So I've got a couple examples here. If I were to put site colon linkedin.com /in build asterisk software. What it's doing is it's completing the phrase. So you can see with Eric Stroll on the top there, you've got software and security engineer building robust, secure software. It can go reverse, right? So it would be the same. The results would be the same if I put software asterisk build. This is a very similar to an around function or a natural language search. But what I'm doing is I'm completing the phrase of Eric is building robust, secure software. There's the phrase. Tim, down in the bottom left corner, as an enterprise architect, he is building and deploying of software, right? And then Jacob is building custom software. And you can see in Jacob on the bottom right there, building custom software is all highlighted in the bold, because it is within the phrase itself, one continuous phrase, building custom software, rather than several different terms putting together a phrase. But that's how the wildcard functions with X-ray searching. You cannot throw it on to the end of a term. You can't throw it in and just say, hey, I need something. Can you please return this? There are functions for that in other sourcing platforms, and I can talk about that another time. But for wildcard, no, it's phrase completion. You're looking for, and generally a handful of terms in between, but I'm looking for someone to, for Google to complete the phrase for me. So now it is time to get creative. This is how you source from sites other than LinkedIn. We're going to start with GitHub, then we're going to move to Stack Overflow, and then we're going to pull resumes straight from Google itself, which is really cool that you can do this. These are really cool tricks that I've learned in talking with other people. So I'm going to highlight where a lot of this information has come from for me, so that you can understand what kind of resources are available out there. But initially, we're going to start with GitHub. If you're hiring software engineers, you're probably really familiar with GitHub, and if you're not, you should be. GitHub is the quote unquote LinkedIn of software developers. It's a place of collaboration. You can share code. A highly important place, social network for software developers. To source from GitHub, you really have two options. And Vanessa Rath is the one that showed us this back in July as I was moving across the country from Utah to South Carolina. I hopped on a call. She mentored our whole team, and this was mind blowing to me. And I've absolutely loved learning that this is possible. But you can cite from GitHub, and every time you set up a GitHub, it also creates a GitHub.io, which is kind of like a landing page uh, for your profile. It doesn't necessarily have to be a resume, but it often is used as such. So I have a couple examples on here of how you could start looking at LinkedIn profiles with this in mind, right? So site colon github.com using joined on or contribution activity then tells me I'm looking at a GitHub profile. I'm not diving into one of their repositories or one of their forked branches, whatever that might be. I am looking at their profile. And then throw in at the end, I used Python or Java or Ruby just for an example, making sure that I could illustrate how this would work. But that joined on or contribution activity is huge. You throw that in there, you're looking at a LinkedIn profile, throw on whatever software experience that they're needing, or you can use github.io, right? Site colon github.io. Lead it off with gmail.com or in URL resume or in URL CV. The difference between in URL and in title is the in URL is looking at the URL bar. It's the titles and URLs often don't match. And so you have to be very specific about how you're using this. So the specific syntax there is github.io/resume or github.io/CV, right? But any of those are going to return the same kind of information that you're looking for. If I'm looking for a profile that they have a GitHub account, they've got experience using Python, Java, Ruby, whatever software you're looking for. This is how you can find it. And the really cool part is that if you're using gmail.com as an anchor on github.io, or you could use it on github.com as well, that would work. You've got their contact information. You know how you can reach them. It's already there. They've provided it there for you. Uh, on GitHub itself, I don't generally look for ones that have gmail.com because if you go into the repositories, you can find their email account. I'd be more than happy to show anyone that needs to know how to do that. Not pertinent to this particular training. But yes, this is information that Vanessa Rath shared with me has been super, super helpful in learning how to find software engineers that when their LinkedIn profiles in particular are very sparse. They do not have a lot of data. Um, a suggestion from Aaron Matthew, who also provided a training to our team, was join Reddit Programmer Humor. This has been super helpful in me learning how to navigate the software industry. This is totally separate from X-Ray, but I think it's hysterical. This made me laugh really hard. But Reddit Programmer Humor, if you're needing to learn tech recruiting, is a great place to go. You're going to see people making jokes about the funny stuff that programmers do, and you're learning the way that they talk about what they do. You understand how they communicate, what really appeals to them. And then in your messaging outreach, you can include memes or create your memes that that appeal to them. So totally separate note. Thank you. Shout out to Aaron Matthew for that suggestion. Was super helpful. But that's GitHub. If you're sourcing from GitHub, this is a really easy way to go about doing that. Next is Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow, similar to GitHub, is a place that you're going to find software engineers, and this is going again going to just level up your sourcing game, help you find candidates that maybe other recruiters aren't reaching out to, or they just don't have enough information and their outreach is misdirected, doesn't have the right information. This is a place that you can go and see what these developers and engineers are working on, right? So if you use site:/stackoverflow.com/users, you'll find again profiles. And then if you are using gmail.com as an anchor in your search, you're going to find contact information for those individuals because that's not as easily or as readily available on Stack Overflow as it is GitHub, right? But just to give you an example, I threw this exact search into Google. This is a screenshot from me, 13,000 results for stackoverflow.com users that have their Gmail account on their profile. So now you can see exactly what they've worked on. I mean, throw in whatever your requirements are, whatever languages, softwares that they needed to work on, put it in your search. But Stack Overflow users with a Gmail on their account is very easily accessible and is going to allow you to reach out to those candidates or those potential candidates that other recruiters are probably missing. Um, dive into it, get creative with what you're doing. Okay. Next, you can pull resumes straight from Google. Um, it's story time. Back in, I want to say it was late October, maybe the very beginning of November, I was having a one-on-one with Batman, and we were having a discussion in preparation for a virtual offsite with our team. And Batman said, "I think we are really good users of tools. I want to make sure that we are really good sourcers." And that like really struck me. It's like, oh yeah, I am really good at using the tools. Let me make sure I'm a really good sourcer as well, that I can think strategically. I can get beyond just these same uh, mundane steps that I take every time, and really think creatively in finding candidates. And back in August, him and I were chatting, and he shared a document with me that had a handful of different syntax for places that you could X-ray in. And after the conversation him and I had late October, I dove into that, and I was like, I need to learn. We didn't have any software roles at the moment that we were working on, um, and so I was just trying to soak up the information, figure out what is going to work that can really help me level that up. In particular, finding candidates or sniping candidates that other recruiters are missing or is highly specific. And these were two of the pieces of information that I picked up that blew my mind. Because it didn't really occur to me up until that moment. When I write my resume or I help other people write their resume, we write it all the time in Google Docs. We write it in OneDrive, right? And then we share those. We publish them to the web, and they're there, right? So people use WordPress all the time to put together a portfolio, put together a resume. People publish their resume straight from Google Docs onto the web, and you can find those, right? So if I use site asterisk.wordpress.com /resume or site asterisk.wordpress.com /cv, that's pulling up straight resumes. These are just resumes. Resumes typically include contact information, phone number, email address, right? This one had 7,000, right? Just using this syntax, 7,790 results. It's almost 8,000 resumes that you can just find. in a website, so it's shareable. You can share it with your team. You'd be able to link it to somebody in your ATS. Um, it's there. These they're there. Start diving into the specifics you need, and it might not yield the same amount of profiles that matches LinkedIn Recruiter or Seek Out, but these are profiles that or resumes that maybe on their LinkedIn profile it doesn't exist. They don't have any information. You can find candidates that other recruiters, other talent acquisition professionals aren't even touching. Right? Sites.google.com and resume or CV. Right? You can see again screenshot almost 200,000 results of people that have just published their resume to the web. Start tapping into this talent. There are people here, and this is going to be exactly what you're looking for of people that aren't hot on the market, that aren't being over contacted and reached out to with LinkedIn in mails. Um, you've got contact information. Get creative with your approach and sourcing because there's a lot of talent out there that is quite frankly untapped. Uh, this is a copy paste slide from my last presentation. I just want to make sure we go over this again. Tools that make sourcing easier. I'm huge advocates of this. This is free. I'm all about making things easy and free. X-ray searching requires no LinkedIn Recruiter subscription. It doesn't require a seat on Seekout or HireEasy. You're just using Google. So if you're wanting to level up your game and not have it cost you anything, here are a couple tools that I use. If you attended my last webinar, you saw brackets. You're going to see it again with live sourcing today. But brackets is a text editor. A lot of software developers and engineers will use it to write their code because it's formatted in a way that it shows you, particularly with your parentheses if you're writing nested statements, but it shows you where your open parentheses are. You're less likely to have broken Boolean strings. The other is highlight this, and you saw it earlier in the presentation with the nested around statement of locations. But this is showing you or highlighting the page to make information more ingestible. It allows you to see it at a glance and dive into the specific things that you're needing. And then last is instant data scraper, an absolute must have if you're X-ray searching. If you're X-ray searching, you're looking at straight Google search results. You want to pull all of those LinkedIn URLs off of the page, use Instant Data Scraper. Upload it into a Google spreadsheet or Microsoft Excel, and you can export that and put it right into your ATS. It's super helpful. Again, all of these are free and can level up your sourcing game at zero cost. They're easy tools to use. I use them all the time, and I could not recommend them enough. So, all that being said, before we jump into live sourcing, do we have any questions? Is there? I know with the timing difference, we've only got a handful of people here live, but does anyone have any questions on anything presented today? The vertical line, Angela, great question. It took me way too long to learn where this is. So on your keyboard, on the right side of your keyboard, you've got Shift, and then you've got Enter, and then you've got I think it's backslash or backslash. I think is what it is. I get my slashes mixed up all the time. So Shift, Enter, backslash. If you Shift, Enter, you have the. I've always referred to it as the pipe. It looks just like that. It's an L but bigger, and it functions as an or in Boolean. You don't have to put any spacing between your terms. You can just write term and then put the pipe, term, put the pipe, term, put the pipe, and keep going. It's yeah, it took me way too long. I seriously, it was probably a couple years of seeing that and not knowing that it had a location on my keyboard. I thought it was some hack that people were putting in different, control alt hitting some numbers on their keypad before I found it and sheepishly had to uh, accept that. Any other questions? No, it's just above the enter. So look, I'll show you my keyboard here. We'll see if we can make this work, right? So I've got my keyboard here. You've got shift, enter, and then you've got your back, and the pipe is shift in that button right there. Yeah, no problem. Um, okay. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to drop them in. Let's get to some live sourcing if we can. Does anyone have any roles that they would like to work on? Went a little faster than I thought we were going to. I must have had too much caffeine today. Let's see who all is here right now. Oh, hi, Kristen. It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. And Caitlin, I know Caitlin was traveling yesterday, so hopefully she's not too tired. All right, senior cloud engineer. Okay, infrastructure as a service and C sharp. Jen, good to see you. And Martel already said hi. Uh, senior design project engineer, industrial solution. Okay. An orthodontic dental hygienist in New York. Okay, so these all could be a lot of fun. Let's get this going. I'm going to pull brackets up. I've got, if you haven't figured out, I've got chat over on my monitor over here. My presentation coming here. So we're going to work from the screen. If I'm looking over, I'm just looking at chat, making sure I'm not falling behind. Um, let's see. Well, Martel, you were the first to comment, so let's jump on that one. Senior cloud engineer, C sharp, and infrastructure as a service. Um, senior cloud. So, what is noting them as senior cloud? Martel, is it years of experience? Is it something in particular that they're capable of doing? Um, what are we looking at? Oh, Angela, property manager in Philadelphia. I worked in property management for a couple years as a recruiter. That's familiar territory to me. Experience more than 8 years. Okay. More than 8 years. Is there a cap on salary? So if there is someone too senior, what does too senior look like, Martel? Okay, so architect would be too senior. Perfect. Okay, so here is Martel's role that we're looking at. Um, we're gonna start. We'll start with LinkedIn, um, and then we can test with GitHub if that's not yielding the results that we need. But we're gonna go site colon LinkedIn, linkedin.com/in. Uh, this is brackets. Again, this is brackets. Super helpful in breaking down Boolean line by line and seeing exactly what you're looking for. Um, so we're looking, we want in title cloud. Um, and in title engineer. We're gonna do or developer. It's not typically the title I've seen with that, but we're gonna just make sure we're as inclusive as possible. Markel, any particular locations? It's remote. Remote worldwide, or are we talking remote United States? Okay, close to Dallas. Perfect. So for Dallas in particular, we're going to go Dallas. Dallas. That's two L's, right? Dallas, and then I'm going to put um, an or. We're going to do a nested around statement. DFW, it's Dallas Fort Worth, around 5 and connections. So that'll pull up anyone that lists DFW, Dallas, Dallas Metroplex, Dallas Fort Worth area. Pull up all of those individuals. We're looking for C# and infrastructure as a service. With that, we'll go infrastructure. Oops. We're going to go infrastructure around, and we're going to go 3 service, or we're going to go IaaS. Oh, so did you see how that parenthesis highlighted red told me I had an open parenthesis, and that's not going to work. And then we're looking for C#. C#, and I do believe I have to put that in quotes because it's using a symbol, and Google can be weird. Or C#. Okay. And every line break is functions as an and statement. Any statement next to another statement without an or a not will function as an and. But for simplicity, for the sake of training, we're going to go and. So I've got all of my different Boolean strings here. We're going to plug this right into Google. And we're going to see what comes back. 0. All right, I must have an error somewhere. I think what we're going to change is we're going to change the infrastructure around service, and I'm going to use a wildcard. We're going to try that. Copy. We will paste. And we're still returning 0. Let me figure out where my error is. If you see something wrong, let me know. Remove unnecessary parentheses now. In title, I've got it all there. You know what? We're going to take the ands out. I don't think that's messing it up, but no. Oh, we got 1. So we're on the right track. Martel, I'm not sure with infrastructure engineers. Must include Dallas. They are in Dallas. That's fine. Let's take a look. I didn't put any experience here yet because I wanted to see where we were starting. IT administrator, senior operations engineer. Martel, how are we looking on this one? Is this years of experience? Are we looking close with what we're looking at? I mean, it looks like cloud security, which is different, probably the wrong title. We will come back to brackets. Do I have an extra, Wendy, what was your suggestion there? Do I have an extra parenthesis by infrastructure? I do not anymore. DFW, C#, infrastructure as a service, or IaaS. It is in the ballpark. So we're getting a start here. I'd be curious as to what is holding us up. So when I run into this, I just start taking stuff out of my string and seeing what we're looking at. Um, we're just going to copy because this is easier. Let's pull out C sharp and see what that does. It opens it up, or about 15 results. So C sharp is definitely holding us up there. I mean, it is remote, so I could, if you're wanting around Dallas, um, we could throw Texas in there. I know Texas is huge, and there are things in Texas that are not around Dallas. I'm very aware of that, but we're going to give it a try. Uh, where's my brackets? Okay. I would add a range of experience. I'm going to put it right here above the C sharp piece. If we're needing at least 8 years of experience, um, 8 years ago was 2000. Oh, geez. I'm terrible at math on the spot. We're looking 2015. So let's go ahead and put 20. We'll put 2010 dot 2015. This is my rangefinder. This is going to find dates or numbers that fall within 2010 to 2015. And then just to make sure I don't get any architects, we're going to put in title, not in title, architect. I am not a robot. This is always a good sign if you're X-ray sourcing, because what you're doing is suspicious to Google. So here we go. We've got cloud infrastructure engineer, cloud platform. Um, in Houston, if it's remote in Texas, Martel, but needing to be around Dallas, we're looking at something different. But this would be a great place to start with only 49 results. This would be easy to go through and calibrate. Come back to my hiring manager and say, okay, this is where we're at. This is what our market is looking like based off of this, because this is a very narrow search, and then broadening that out. Um, Wendy, maybe the title is too specific. Other words for cloud that could be used. That's a great suggestion. Cloud in particular would be interesting. We could do that if they're dealing with cloud. We definitely could do that. So in title or in title, we're going to throw AWS. AWS. Yeah. Or in title, got GCP. Man, I haven't had to do a cloud roll in a while. GCP. I mean, we could start there. But the great suggestion, Wendy, that is definitely what you could and should do, is start expanding on titles. 8 results. So it decided it wanted to malfunction here. So it was working before I put those in. Why would it be interpreting that as restrictive? Yeah. I mean, ultimately, that's a great decision. I would play around with this and figure out where is it holding me up. In title cloud, um, or in title. I wonder. Yeah. You could play with what they're doing. If they're a cloud engineer, you could be looking at platform engineers that specialize in cloud. start diving down those rabbit holes. But with an X-ray search, starting with this in particular, is what I would where I would start. Martel, I'm going to post it in chat for you if you want. If you don't need it, that is fine, but it is there for you. Let's see. Let's jump into this next one. We've got Jen, Senior Design Project Engineer, Industrial Solutions. And we are going to rename this one. Renaming file. Okay, that's fine. Martel, I'll save that and I can send it to you as a file as well if you need, if the copy doesn't work. But all right, Jen, we've got your senior design project engineer, industrial solutions. I think I saw you post somewhere as well a little bit about the role. Yep. We are in business. Open to sponsorship. Okay. Design project engineer. We've got industrial solutions, 2 openings, entry or senior level. So entry, I mean, how entry are we talking, Jen? Is this just straight out of college entry, or do they need at least a couple years experience? Hybrid role, Kohler, Wisconsin. Okay. New grad straight out of college, like true entry level. Awesome. Thank you for having true entry level for entry level roles. A generator or genset experience preferred. Power system design preferred. Relocation available. Where are you able to relocate from? Is this nationwide relocation? Anywhere in the U.S. You relocate anywhere from the U.S.? From other Midwest states, but has to be in the U.S. Okay, excellent. So if they're coming straight from college, this could be tricky. This could be a lot of fun. Is playing with in titles as well as looking at um, open to opportunities. Industrial solutions. Can you elaborate for me a little bit on what you're looking at? Industrial solutions, Jen, as I start, but would go site, LinkedIn. I do that every time. LinkedIn.com/in. We're going to go in title. Well, I mean, we're going to start with specific and we can broaden up. So we're going to go design and in title project and in title engineer. Designing generators for big companies. Okay. Industrial solutions. So generator or set experience preferred. We can start with that. Actually, we're going to get to the location piece. So if we're looking remote wise, but we're looking for relocation, but ideally in Kohler. Kohler is in Kohler, Wisconsin. Where's our Sheboygan? I probably said that wrong, and if I did, feel free to laugh at me. That's fine. Okay. So I would start with something along these lines. I would go with Kohler, Wrong button. Boy again. Wisconsin. Just so that we're looking local first. Around, since I'm sure while you're willing to relocate, ideally you don't have to. 5 connections. And we'll just start with this and see what it yields. The title piece is really specific, so I imagine we're going to have a pretty tight result. 0. Yep. It does not surprise me. So let's remove the design piece and start with just project engineers. Wrong one. Just looking at titles. Okay, so we got 36. You probably will recognize a lot of these names. These are probably profiles you've already looked at. But we got Kohler, Wisconsin, Springville, Utah. How did you pull up? Let's figure out why you appeared. We've got construction. Whoops. Wrong button. Connections. I am not seeing where it would have pulled Wisconsin from. I guess is is what I'm looking at. So let's go and adjust. Best luck using electrical engineer as the title. Oh, okay. That's good to know. Let's create a nested statement. Okay, about 8 results. Did that go down? Yeah, that went down. That should not have happened. Oh, I wonder if it is hiding previous results. Yep. No? Just kidding. I don't know why that went down. Entitled project, or we'll drop one of these. Start here. Senior electrical project engineer, project engineer. Okay. So let's take out electrical. We'll stick with project for now. Yes, I'm absolutely able to share the recording. Due to the whole timing mix up, I will be sure to send this out. I will make it available on my LinkedIn as soon as the recording finishes processing. That'll probably be tonight or early tomorrow morning. But yes, I will be sure to have this available. So Jen, we're going to jump back into nice to haves. So I'm curious if we eliminated project entirely and we just did an in title engineer, open that up wide open, and then we look for generator or genset. On what that will return us. 72 results. All right, so we are on our way up. Senior project engineer, electrical engineer, um, control system engineer. I'm generator controls. Probably a little different than what you're looking for. Maybe, maybe not. Eliminate Kohler. Yes. Yeah. We will eliminate Kohler. Not Kohler. Well, I guess if you're open to rehires, then maybe we will change that to not in title. Kohler. Then I know they're not currently employed there, but if they've got experience with Kohler. 71. Okay. But Roseville, California, Houston, Texas. I was telling it to look. Did I miss copying the? I did not miss. This is probably where my issue is, though. Is Kohler is going to appear in the title if they live there. So what we could do instead is we will go Wisconsin. Everything is formatted with city, state, country. Angela, yes, the first training is available. I am more than happy to share that with you. Just ping me on LinkedIn. I can send you that link. Okay, so now we're looking Wisconsin. This is looking better. Wisconsin lead application engineer. Maybe a little too senior. You said senior. I'm assuming they're still individual contributors, not team leads. Wired custom generator enclosures. Sales engineer, new product engineer, hardware test, lead engineer. Yeah, so we're looking at a lot of different titles now because we took out that project or electrical. But everyone is in Wisconsin, so we got that figured out. Most likely looking at 0 to 4 years of experience with the comp. Okay. So they're definitely still individual contributors, even for that senior role. Okay. So let's jump back in here. LinkedIn.com/in. We got in title engineer. Let's put some not in titles. Lead or manager. Leader manager. We'll just start there. Generator or genset. Not entitled Kohler. Okay. Must have MSEE or BSEE. Okay, let's throw that in there. That should narrow things down for us. MSEE or BSEE. Should have included that to begin with, since that's a must-have. My apologies. Let's jump in. Yes, I'm not a robot. 2 results. Oh. Okay, that's looking better. But we are not pulling from Wisconsin. Not Wisconsin. All right. If you're looking for someone really junior, we would probably want to throw in rangefinder. This is already getting really tight. Principal is probably too senior. MSEE. Okay. With the MSEE or BSEE, These are, I mean, masters of electrical engineering or bachelors of electrical engineering, right? So we could put, or yes, Jen, this is a tough one, but this is also fun. So now we're looking. Let's put. Um, we're going to delete this altogether, and we're going to go electrical engineering around, and we'll go 10 education. We'll approach it a little differently. There we go. Okay, let's jump in right here. 22 results. Okay. San Francisco Bay, Houston, Texas. I'm not sure why it's not pulling from Wisconsin. That feels weird. All right, since generator and genset was a nice to have, let's delete that and come back. Most likely be relocating the finalist. Awesome. Here we go, 59. Electrical design engineer. This is probably a lot of what you're looking for. HGA architects and engineers. Was it electrical designer? School of engineering. Maintenance worker. So maybe a little more experience. Oh, bachelor's degree, 2017. So yeah, I think we are on the right track now. I assume by your reaction, I'm guessing that this is what we're looking at. So let me go ahead and share this with you. And again, I will be able to send this there. For those of you that are just joining now that we're at the top of the hour, I apologize for the time mix up. All the last 2 weeks we've been advertising as 1 p.m. EST. When I created the event, it's logged it, even though I told it 1 p.m., it auto defaulted to 1 p.m. CST. The recording will definitely be available. I'm happy to stay on and do some live sourcing. We can go over some of these principles again. But that being said, let's do one more. I've got time. Let's do. Let's see. We've got Letitia. Are you still here? Orthodontic dental hygienist. Oh, perfect, Letitia. You are on top of this. Thank you. All right, we'll start a new one. Megan, yes, I will absolutely send the recording. Shailene, no worries. It was a mix up. It happens. I am more than happy to share my recording, make it available however we need to. So no sweat. I will make this widely available to anyone that needs it. Gabriella, yes, you'll get the recording. I was a mix up. So Letitia, we are looking. Let me just copy your comment there so we have it all in one place. Associate degree or higher from ADA accredited dental hygienist school, current state license, CPR certification, preferred 1 year dental experience. Okay. I mean, preferred 1 year. I'm assuming, though, that you would take someone straight out of graduating from a program. Perfect. Okay. Looking at ADA accredited dental hygienist school. If I were given this as a role that I was working on for work, I would dive into looking at what are those schools, start formulating particular strings around that. For this, I'm going to just look for anything in their degree, making sure that they've got, I guess, anything higher than high school. Um, so we'll start with site linkedin.com/in. I've never looked for orthodontic dental hygienists on LinkedIn, so I'm not sure what we're going to find here. Um, Gerald, this is brackets. Uh, Thank you, Mike. Brackets is one of my favorite free tools to use because it helps break down Boolean quite well. So we're going to start with site linkedin.com/in. We're going to go with in title. We're going to look for dental or in title orthodontic and in title hygienist. Then we will group that all together, especially since we were talking about nested statements earlier. Um, just making sure that we've got all of this put together. And then we're looking in New York. Are we looking? Where are we looking in New York? I'm assuming New York City, but if not, let's Yonkers. I thought you were pulling my leg. I just Googled on my other screen. That is a real place. I've never heard of Yonkers, New York before. Um, we are still okay, a little north of New York City. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mike. New York City. That's how we're going to approach that, Letitia, as Mike has right there. Quotes New York City, because most individuals around New York City will list New York metropolitan area. And so we are going to go New York City, throw down an or, New York metropolitan. Oh, going too fast here. Let's see. Around, we're going to go 5 and connections. And we are going to start with this and see where this gets us. Zero results. I must have something broken. Let's see. In title, dental or orthodontics. In title, hygienist. Let's see. New York City, New York Metropolitan, around 5 connections. LinkedIn.com/in. Let's give it a go. See if that tweak does anything for us. Still nothing. Let's play around with this. We're going to go New York. See if that's where my error is. No. Well, this is awkward. Let's figure out what is going on. Can't or statement in the entitles. Yeah, I thought that was the case. But if I go like this, should still work. Still nothing. Interesting. Whoops, wrong bracket. Increase the number for a round. Great suggestion. We'll bump it up to 10. Um, we're going to remove the in title altogether, and I'm going to go dental orthodontic and hygienist. We're going to just get rid of that in title function and see. This would also include students, that's what they're studying for. If they list, I have minimized the wrong window. Here we go, 8 results. There should definitely be more than that, but let's start looking at what we are seeing here. New York City metropolitan area. Oh, I guess it is New York City metropolitan. So we can adjust that in our search to New York City. Make sure we're looking at the right people. Eight results still. Okay, this is good. We got hygienist. That is a good point, Mike. Yes. In titles don't always nest well. So registered dental hygienist, registered dental hygienist. Looks like we are on the right track here. I would imagine there's more. Again, I've never recruited dental hygienists on LinkedIn. Um, so definitely. Oh, did I spell it wrong? I did. Okay. And then, yeah, Indeed, Laura. Indeed could be a good place to look if you have the Indeed resume database. Letitia, how? I mean, we said we were looking for someone fairly inexperienced, 1 year. What would be too senior? Is there anything that we would need too senior wise? Perhaps just more years of experience. Okay, so I mean, this is where I would start with LinkedIn. There was a good suggestion using Indeed resume database. This could be a great opportunity to try searching WordPress. Right. So if we were to substitute, we're going to come back to my presentation over here. We're going to jump back to WordPress. We're going to just pull straight from that or sites.google.com. Right. If you're just joining now, again, I apologize for the time mix up. This was stuff that we covered earlier. Slides and recording will be made available. But if we go sites.google.com plus or and resume and CV, we can definitely give that a try. Just going to copy that over because I am lazy and not lazy. I like to be efficient. Plus resume. CV. All right, so all I did was throw it down into the bottom. We've got this right here. And see what this yields for us. Just looking at straight resumes. Oh, again, hygienist. The New York City around connections isn't going to make sense anymore. because I'm not looking at LinkedIn. So let's adjust this to make sense. Dental, orthodontic, and hygienist. That one's not returning anything. That's fine. Uh, Dan, that was my mistake. When I set up the event, it said 1 p.m. and I said, great, that is what I want to do. And it defaulted to Central Time. And I've been advertising it as 1 Eastern. I will make sure this is all made available. But coming back, Letitia, this would be a place to start. There were not very many responses, but conceptually gives you a great idea of what we're looking at and looking for. If you were to go, oh, whoa, what did we do? Oh, I probably still have. Nope. Nope. How did I just mess that up? Oh, site. Um, Conceptually walking through and using other tools such as the Indeed resume database if you have access to that. Um, would be a great place to look. Dental hygienist, again, just not something I've ever recruited for on LinkedIn. So this was a great learning opportunity. I will share the string with you here. And again, if you want it as a text format, just ping me. Um, Laura, great question. I don't know where I would look for dental hygienists. I would probably what I would do, particularly where Letitia stated looking for someone coming from an accredited university with a degree. I would look at those universities, look for lists of graduations for people coming from those universities, and see if I can find them located in New York City. Is probably how I would proceed with that. For X-ray purposes and teaching the functionality of X-ray, this is what we were doing. But that conceptually is what I would do. Is put together the list of universities that are accredited, pull the graduation lists, probably from the last I don't know 5 years, since we are looking at someone that's fairly junior. Letitia was willing to take someone right out of a program, and that's where I would begin my search. Um, but yes, there are other options. Indeed, resume database could be incredibly useful for that. I just don't play around with that one. Um, so let's see. I think that's going to about wrap up what we're looking at. I think there was one more. Who was it that had the property manager role? Let me scroll up through chat here. Property manager in Philadelphia, Angela. Angela, are you still here by chance? If you're not, that's fine. Just ping me and I'd be happy to help build a string for you. But yes, this will be recorded. More than happy to share. Laura in Ireland for experience, Irish jobs, something like that in New York City. Did I miss a first part? Oh, a site to look. Yes, there's absolutely a site to look. Um, Ireland. I'm terrible at this. So if you want to use like Ireland's LinkedIn, you could use that LinkedIn format. LinkedIn.com/in is going to pull it. Um, but if you were to use country, let's see, this is what I would do. I do not recall off the top of my head what it would be. Ireland, a LinkedIn domain. Yes, I'm not a robot. I know I've been doing a lot of searching here. IE, that's right. So what I would do is I would build a search with ie.linkedin.com/in, Laura. And that's giving me profiles of people that are living in Ireland. Um, is where I would start with an X-ray search. If you're using different tools like Seek Out or Hire Easy, you can set your filters to look for people in Ireland. But as for sites, if I'm pulling just straight from LinkedIn and X-raying into that, I would put IE.LinkedIn. Any site to look into Japan apart from LinkedIn? I do not, Amar. I can look into that and get back to you though. Um, I can definitely do that. So we're gonna wrap things up. Uh, just as a quick uh end of this, I do have to go. I've got another commitment here in just a few minutes, because again I planned this to be 1 p.m Eastern to 2 p.m Eastern, and made a mistake in logging it and creating the event, and I put 1 p.m Central in the event. So that's my apologies. I will make sure this recording is available. Anyone that wants it, ping me. I'll post it on my LinkedIn. So go drop me a connection there. But I do have to go. If you want to just email me rather than message me on LinkedIn, you can do that too. Christopher.carver94@gmail. Please don't call me Christopher. That is what my parents call me, and they're the only ones to do so. Call me Chris or Aquaman, either one. I am willing to respond to any of those, just not Christopher, please. Um, but if you have any questions, following up from this, if you need the recording to the first part of X-Ray with Aquaman to look at the Boolean basics and X-Ray fundamentals, let me know. This one will cover more in detail a lot of the advanced functions of X-ray searching, and that's what we would be looking at. But thank you for coming. Thank you for registering, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye, guys.